Perfect.
All right. Thank you everyone for showing up. You guys always show up. I appreciate that. Anyone on Facebook that has any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments. I'll do my best to get to them here. Let's start with introduction, Savannah.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Savannah. I am a registered nurse. I live here in Los Angeles, California. Started investing in real estate beginning of 2020 after I had my second daughter. Started in single family homes and then quickly switched into syndications. And I own and operate syndications. I've raised over $3 million, primarily from healthcare professionals too. And it's just been really cool to give healthcare professionals the opportunity to passively invest in real estate because they're really busy people, like you guys know. So met Alex, and then we just kind of started this group because we're really motivated to give back to other healthcare professionals. So Alex, I'll let you intro yourself.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Alex Sabio. I'm a respiratory therapist by trade, so I'm also in healthcare. I've been doing that over 20 years now. Started short-term rentals almost exactly 2 years ago. I closed on my first short-term rental in August 3rd of 2020, and it's been a whirlwind. I mean, it's been phenomenal, and I love just teaching others. Really excited to have our featured guest here. His name's Kenny Bedwell. He's also an STR investor, co-host. He's a former data analyst for Citibank, and he's the founder of STR Insights. I was just telling Kenny just before we started recording here, I wish I would have had this tool even 6 months or a year ago, because I spent so much time like trying to do so many analytics and going on Zillow trying to find deals and stuff, when like all of the data is right there. And I feel like, you guys ever watch Moneyball? They use like analytics to kind of like cheat the system and get the best results. And that's kind of what STR Insights does. Everyone always asks me, where's the best place to invest in a short-term rental? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to find that too, man. Why you want me to give away the secrets? But I think with Kenny's tool here, I think that's going to help a whole lot of us investors here. But Kenny, thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. It's great to be on.
Thank you. What do you guys have for us? You got a presentation, right? You're able to share here.
Let me see. Should be able to.
Yeah. So Kenny, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself? Because you're also a STR investor, right?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I like to tell everybody I am a data nerd. So I love running the numbers, crunching the numbers, looking at different sources. Just like talking numbers and analytics, short-term rental analytics. So I am a vacation rental investor as well. I have several properties in around Buffalo, New York, near Niagara Falls. And I have one recently acquired using the tool I created in the Finger Lakes of New York and Watkins Glen, if anybody knows where that is. I love this field and this industry, I should say, and have really enjoyed creating a tool that's not only helped me, but helped other investors as well find properties that are not only just going to appreciate, but cash flow as well. And so I think that's what it's all about, at least for me, is about the cash flow and getting that high ROI and finding those sweet deals out there.
Right. So is that where you're located? You live up in New York area?
Yeah, I live up near Buffalo, New York.
Oh, I see. That'd be interesting too, right? And I think that's my issue, is that a lot of times people, they talk about different STR markets and all of us just go there, right? Like, and that's how I got into the Smokies. Everyone was talking about it, but the country is so damn big. I mean, there's so many different opportunities, and we're just so we don't have enough time, right, to really scrub through that data. And so I was playing with STR Insights, and I'm like, oh my God, there's all these different areas that I probably would have never looked at, right? But your tool kind of narrows that down with just different criteria. So
yeah, and I hopefully tonight, so I'm going to give you guys some tips. I'm obviously going to show STR Insights off, but I'm also going to show you some other tools I use too that kind of will help you do that research when you see a new market So for those of you who don't know, let me take a step back. So STR Insights is a data tool. It helps you get access to the entire United States or the entire country, and it allows you to compare yearly revenue of every single market against the average price of an STR. And that's really important. It's not an average median price of a house, like a residential home, but an actual vacation rental in every single market. You put those two numbers together and you now have an ROI. So revenue with what we call a valuation, or essentially what's it cost to buy a vacation rental in that market. Those two numbers together and we get a gross ROI. And then we can compare those against each other and see where are the top markets. And then we've also figured out a way to label it by a destination type too. So you can compare beach markets and mountain markets. It's all cool. I'm going to show you guys everything, but that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think you put a name to it, because I always tell people I like to have like 15 to 20% of whatever the purchase price is. But like gross ROI isn't anything that I really heard of, but I think that simplifies it for me or for everyone, so.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like cash on cash, and there's NOI and your cap rate and all these different things. And when it comes to hard costs, those are different for everyone. And so this tool is, we stay high level, and then as you dive in deeper, you can then bring in your own hard cost, once you figure out those costs. So
Right. So as far as like, that's interesting. I didn't know that you're just analyzing STR homes, because STR homes are a lot more expensive than regular homes. Because I was just wondering, like, are you just scrubbing Zillow data?
no. Yeah.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're actually pulling actual addresses of properties, of short-term rental properties, and then we go in and pull their actual value. So we use a third-party vendor, and we give them the addresses, and they give us back what the value of that property is every single month. So, and it fluctuates depending on the market.
I see. And then are you just tying in AirDNA, or are you have your own tool?
No, it's definitely our own tool. Yeah, AirDNA would not let us do this.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
that's a lot of work, man.
it is. There's like 4 people behind me, like cranking out everything, and I'm just the pretty face, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kenny, I'm looking at your Facebook right now, and I see like a 1-minute doodle video that you put out showing what STR Insights is, and it's super helpful. I love that. I did that when people had questions about, or I was trying to explain what syndications are. I did a doodle video, and it was really helpful for people to kind of try and understand what it is. It looks like you just went live on July 8th. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had the tool for several months, almost going on a year since we've like kind of got our prototype and started tracking everything. But it just took us a while to kind of get going and get everything up in a usable format. But it all started from spreadsheets.
Yeah, maybe you can talk through a little bit of like the evolution of your product and how you've kind of taken customer feedback and what you're seeing that people want to like create new features in your product.
Sure. Yeah. So so the evolution of it, I mean, came as me an investor. So I, like many of you, I felt like I was so just so you guys know, I have like 6 listings in Buffalo, New York. Great market, super cheap. I mean, last year, so I bought a property for $250,000 in 2019. And last year alone, 2021, it did 120K. This year, it will probably do about 130K. So I've upped it, even though it's 2022 and I'm just doing better. So
is it because of the bills, Kenny? I mean, is that why? Like people
the bills are, there's only like 10 home games. So
Yeah.
no, I mean, guys, like it is, you step outside right now, it is 80 degrees. There's a slight wind, like it is perfect. Anybody who's been in the Midwest or the Northeast in the summertime, I mean, it's beautiful, gorgeous. Niagara Falls is 15 minutes away. So and I can show you guys some technology to help you see like traffic and stuff. But there's over I think it's like a couple million people go to Niagara Falls every single year, and they don't stay in Niagara Falls. They stay in Buffalo. So I mean, we've got businesses and banks and all this kind of stuff going on, and people don't know that because it's Buffalo. And then chicken wings. So so yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to do, and I would say I got lucky, but I mean, that's just, I was like, oh, let me invest near me, and that's how it kind of got started.
You're gonna have about 30 people right now searching Zillow for listings in Buffalo right now.
Just be careful. Reach out if you're really interested in investing in Buffalo. Definitely reach out to me, because all the areas definitely vary. So it is important where you are. But yeah, so Savannah, Alex, I do have a presentation I can share. I know you guys are like asking me questions and stuff. Do you want me to do that, or how do you want me to kind of
Yes.
proceed here?
Yes, please.
I love
Okay.
that.
All right. Let me share my screen. I know you guys are like asking me questions. And I'm like, well, I can answer them through my presentation, so it's more
Yeah.
educational than like, here's my cool tool and my platform, and then go from there. So, all right, let me share my screen and we'll get to it. All right. So you make this go full screen, and you guys are welcome to stop me and obviously ask questions along the way. And if I can't really see the chat, but if there's something that somebody wants to know, feel free to stop me and ask me. So I'm gonna go. All right, so what I want to help you guys do, and I know some of you guys were at the Nashville conference, and I keep talking about this 30% plus cash on cash properties using different strategies. And I mean, guys, it's real. I applied it this year. So I'm going to show you my case study of how I use my tool. And these strategies, they're not necessary. Some of these strategies are free, and we're just not using them or thinking differently. So one thing I tell everybody is, as the market changes, our investment strategies need to change as well. And so you really need to kind of look at the numbers, the statistics, and then change up your strategy based on the statistics. So I've shared these numbers before, but I think it's really interesting, and it's just the numbers are getting harder. So just so you guys know, if you go on the MLS or like Zillow today, only 15% of the homes on the MLS are vacation rentals or can be legally rented out as vacation rentals. 5% of those, based on the data that I've had and seen and worked with, only 5% of those have the real potential to do 30% cash on cash returns. And so so 30%, for those you don't know, is if you put in how quickly do you get your money back after investing in a property. So if you're spending $100,000 down with your down payment, closing costs, fixing up furnishings, everything, how soon will I get that $100,000 back? So a 30% cash on cash return would be within 3 years. And that's usually considered a very good investment. More, and you've got like something that's smoking hot. So only 5% on the market can have that true potential. All right. Out of the 5%, out of that 5%, only 10% are in large popular vacation rental markets. So if you are really good at stats or not, what does that give you? That gives you less than 1% of all of the really good deals out there are in popular markets. What's the conclusion? What's the moral of the story? Is don't target popular markets. When we only target markets where people are already in, we're chasing returns, and we're not going to get the returns that we're expecting, and so, or that we really want. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. It just your odds and your chances of finding that sweet deal in the Smoky Mountains it's just really low right now. It's very difficult. So my idea and what I'm going to show you guys and my thinking is, let's stop chasing and let's explore what's available as of today. Not available properties as of today, but what markets are performing well based on their prices in the market. So how much it costs to buy a vacation rental and their performance levels, because it changes monthly. And I'm going to show you guys that. Okay, let's keep moving. Oop, I went backwards. One more. There we go. Okay, so here are my 3 strategies. So the first one is target markets with regulation. I know that sounds stupid or stupid easy, depending on how you feel about that. But a lot of people are risk adverse, and they hear regulation and they want to run, especially as in the last 5 years. I don't know how long everyone's been doing it. I've been doing it since 2018, but for me, nowhere has really that I've invested has had regulation until this last property. And I'm going to show you why I'm able to get the returns I am, because I leveraged regulation. So the second strategy I'm going to talk to you guys about is using technology, not just STR Insights, but there's other free data platforms out there that can help you familiarize yourself with new and emerging markets. You got to understand when you want to invest in a new market, you need to understand why people are traveling there. What's the draw? And, what can I do and where should I be looking for properties? And so I'm going to show you some cool technology, not STR Insights. It's totally free. I will walk you through it, super simple. That's going to tell you some really cool numbers. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the ability to target sweet spots in each market. Yes, you can do this in STR Insights, and I'm going to show you how to do it really easy, but you can do it in other data tools too. So whichever you prefer, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's really important that you find the sweet spots, because just because you're in a market doesn't mean you're going to get the maximum returns, be in the 90th percentile. Times have changed. I keep saying this, but times have changed. You've got to differentiate yourself. I'm going to pick apart one market, and it's not that I hate this market. It's Blue Ridge. I'm going to show you in a second. But the reason why is I've seen a growing divide in the data. So STR Insights, we scrape Airbnb and Verbo data. So we just did the recent scrape, and we're like wrapping up the scrape for July coming up. And I'm seeing this massive divide between properties that are performing really well versus properties that are performing poorly. And there's a difference. So properties that are doing really well are doing better than they did last year, which is kind of crazy because we're like, oh, 2021, we've kind of put it on this pedestal, like it will never happen again. And for everybody, it won't. But for the top performers, it's only getting better. It's only getting sweeter. But however, for people who are in the 50th percentile and below, 2022 is worse because they're not marketing, they're not doing the things, adding the decor, adding the new amenities that need to be added. And so anyway, it's happening in all markets, but Blue Ridge especially because of, let's go ahead and dive into it. Well, let's get back to this. There we go. Because of actually the lack of regulation. Oops, I skipped two. Sorry, guys. Go back one. There we go. Okay. Sorry, my computer's freaking out a little bit.
It's funny you bring up Blue Ridge because I do have a lot of investor friends that jumped in on the Blue Ridge because they couldn't afford the Smoky Mountains and they're hurting right now. But I do have some that are killing it still. So when they ask me like, is Blue Ridge still a good market? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell them because I know some people are hurting, but I know some people that are doing really well.
So at the end of this, I'll show you a map view, and the sweet spots thing I talk about is really important, especially in Blue Ridge, because it matters where your property is and it's unique. Blue Ridge is a very unique market in and of itself. But I want to pose this question to everybody. What's more dangerous than an STR market with strict regulations? And the answer is an STR market with no regulations. And let me show you one, which we just talked about, Blue Ridge. I know there are some regulations like in the downtown area that were enacted towards the end of last year, I believe. But let me show you some of the numbers. Guys, this is the STR total active listings in Blue Ridge in the last couple of years. What do we notice about the trends? Obviously, it wasn't until 2020, really COVID, that things started to shoot up, the popularity of it. And it's a drive-in destination. And really the only market that caters to Blue Ridge is the Atlanta metro region. I mean, it's a big region, but how many people, truthfully, how many people are flying to Atlanta to drive to Blue Ridge? Because it's about, what, 2 hours away, I think, hour and a half, maybe an hour. Someone can jump in here and knows the market better than me, but it's not right in Atlanta. So you got to drive a little bit. So how many people are doing that? Not many. A lot of people would do that maybe for the Smokies or some Asheville or some of the other mountain markets, but not really Blue Ridge. And so we're seeing some of these areas get hurt that have very little to no regulation. There are communities, subdivisions of STRs being built in Blue Ridge that just makes the market saturation go way up. And the numbers in terms of people traveling there isn't really changing, at least after, now. In 2020, a lot more people were traveling because of COVID, but now that people can go anywhere and travel abroad, they're doing that, and that region is set. People aren't flying, like I said, people aren't flying into Atlanta to drive to Blue Ridge. So you have to be careful of markets with no regulation, because the market saturation is a real deal, and it's happening everywhere. Don't get me wrong. I see it in the Smokies and all the markets, but you have to be aware of that. And in my opinion, you really need to target markets that have right, like hard regulation, because they're going to protect you and you're going to get an advantage. And I'm going to show you a case study in a second. So how, like, where is this all coming from? How am I getting this data? So I mentioned to you guys, I am the founder of STR Insights, which is a new data platform that helps investors find the top grossing markets across the country. This all started last year. This is kind of my timeline. So where I'm going with this is I purchased a property based on the data so I could prove not only to myself, but to the world that this tool works. Let me show you this property I bought. So for those of you who don't know, I live in New York. I'm about 3 hours away from the Finger Lakes. There's just these, I think it's like 5 big lakes in center of New York, not the Great Lakes, but they're Finger Lakes. They look like fingers. And it's beautiful. It's central New York. And there's this area called Watkins Glen, and it popped up on my tool. It said, hey, Watkins Glen has a great ROI. So Watkins Glen, I hopped on the MLS and I found this property here, listed for $369, a 7-bedroom, 7-bath.
Oh my God, 7 bedrooms.
And it sits up on a hill overlooking a lake. It's got a really, really nice views. And I looked at the numbers. I looked at AirDNA. I looked at Data Rabu. I looked at other sources, and including my own. And it said that this property would do between 150 to 185 yearly, which is insane. I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way that's wrong. And so I dug in deeper. I looked at current properties to see how they were performing. And sure enough, making some adjustments and myself being very conservative, this property can do in its current state, without like a rehab and everything. And you can kind of see a great picture of the interior here. It can do around 120 easily. And I'm on track to hit that this year. So when I found this market and I looked and I saw this property for sale in this market, I picked up the phone and called them. But guess what I found out? So Watkins Glen, so this was in February of this year. Watkins Glen, up until February of this year, had a strict no more STRs, no more STR permits or licenses within the city limits. It's a small town. Over 1 million people go through the state park that's there. There's a NASCAR stadium there too. There's wineries. There's a ton of stuff to do in the summertime. No one could have another STR. They had a limit on 60. That was the cap. When I called, and I saw this property for sale, it had been on the market for over 150 days because no one wanted to buy it at this price point. And because it could be an STR. I called the city and they said, well, we're accepting new applications for permits. We just opened up the ban. We're taking only 20 spots and it's a lottery. So I immediately checked out the property, put it under contract with the contingency that it gets the permit. And fast forward, we got the permit. Now there's only 80 vacation rentals, but I'm on an island. Like there's nobody, my competition is limited. And these people in this area that are renting out vacation rentals, they don't know about, all the new amenities and the game room and the theater room I put in and all the cool stuff that, a hot tub. No one's doing that in this market. So what I call the barrier of entry, what's the barrier of amenities that, the base amenities that I need to do to excel in this market, it's very low. So I can walk in and put in the basic things and then add a hot tub or a game room or a theater room and blow everyone out of the water. If I go to the Smokies, one, I wouldn't be able to afford the Smokies at this price point. Let's start there. But two, those are standard. You have to do that. You have to have the game room and the theater room and all that stuff to succeed and do well in those markets. And so, guys, so that you need to find, moral of the story is I'm protected. I now have a license. And they're not going to increase it unless the size of the city or the population increases. There's like some weird ratio calculation they came up with. There's no major hotels. They're all motels, bed and breakfasts. Like 1 million people come through just the state park. And not to mention the NASCAR stadium and all this other stuff that's nearby. Like people are staying 40 minutes up to an hour away in Ithaca or Geneva just to stay somewhere so they could be close to Watkins Glen. So, I mean, I'm in prime season, and guys, my ADR right now for the summertime is $1,200. So, I mean, like I ended up closing on this property at 350, not even 370. So like, these gyms are out there, even in 2022, even with the stupid rates. I mean, I'm a little bit embarrassed to tell you what my DSCR rate ended up being, but it was in the sixes, but but I mean, like, the numbers just made sense. And it's because of using the data, and then also a little bit of luck and timing in terms of the regulation. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and find opportunities in markets where you think there's heavy regulation. I literally did it last month for somebody else. They said, Kenny, you know, I kind of cheated and told people the market that Bill Faith is in, that he's looking in. Someone told Bill Faith that they could not invest in its Hot Springs, Arkansas. They have permits. You cannot get a new permit. I picked up the phone and called the city and asked them, and they said, well, the property already has a permit, you can be grandfathered in. And I'm like, well, there you go. Like, so people were passing on deals that had permits because they thought that, oh, the regulation, it scares me, that turns me off, I'm going to stay away. So guys, pick up the phone, call the cities. I guarantee they'll work with you. They want to work with legal, good, experienced short-term rental investors. So don't be afraid of regulation. Okay. I want to beat a dead horse there.
Those
All right.
returns are amazing. I mean, Savannah can tell you, we were looking at $1 million homes that weren't generating that much, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So,
Those would be a pass for me. Yeah. So yeah, I every day I'm looking for properties and helping people. And Bill and I actually have a separate product called Bill and Kenny's Hot Picks, where we source like 15% gross ROI properties. But yeah, I mean, they're out there. It's just really hard in a lot of the big markets. So you got to know where to look. And that's where the technology comes in, this part two. So I think I have it as strategy one, but this is strategy number two. So leveraging technology to find investable markets. So what do I mean by that? So there's three things. So first thing is, you need to find top markets based on your budget, region, destination type, and you can do it in STR Insights. And I'm going to show you guys that in like 2 seconds. The second thing is, research the market suggested to identify potential opportunities. So what I mean by that is, I'm going to show you a technology. This is free. This isn't associated with STR Insights, but it's something new. I haven't shared this with anyone yet, but I've been using this a lot more frequently for markets I'm unfamiliar with, to understand why people go to those markets and how many people go to those markets. So this software, this tool that I have no affiliate with or anything like that, called Placer.io, it's a free system where it will show you how much foot traffic is going to certain locations within that market. And it's super helpful because it will help you know and gain confidence as to understand why that market is performing well. And do I have the confidence to invest in it, knowing that there is true demand there. And the third thing is, so you want to discover optimal bedroom count. So every market's different. There's not just like, oh, buy a good property that's a good deal, but in each market, the demand in terms of people going there, group sizes, is different. And property, the prices are different based on bedroom counts. And so that matters too. And I've showed this off in conferences before, and it's all in STR Insights, but I'm gonna show you guys that. So without further ado, I guess, are there any questions before I kind of demo the tool and go through each of these things right here?
no, we're good.
Let's
Yeah,
see it.
as somebody just said, I lived in Geneva 2 years back. Yeah, Geneva's really pretty. We drive through there all the time now, and it's like at the other end of the lake, and yeah, it's really cool. There's a college there and everything. So anyway, cool, let's do it. Okay, so this is STR Insights. So when you go to the dashboard of STR Insights, our landing page is basic for now. You'll see some massive changes in the coming week, but you'll be able to select a state. You can search by destination type, and you can put in your budget, and you can hit find the best market. So I'm going to do a demo with you guys. Something that people always ask me about are, hey, Kenny, what are the top beach markets in the country? Or more importantly, let's be a little more specific. Let's say the top beach markets in the South, just so we can have, because that's really where people don't really like investing in the beach markets in the Northeast, for the most part. So let's do, in STR Insights, you have your filter up here. You can put in destination types. You can put in bedroom counts when you're searching by specific bedroom counts, market sizes. So markets that have a certain number of active listings. We have a default set at medium and large. There's only three. There's small, medium, large, and small meaning they have less than 100 active listings. Medium and larger. The reason why we don't put small in is because we're talking out in the boonies or rural areas. Not a lot of resources and cleaners and maintenance. So you can put it in or you can take it out. In this example, we're just going to look at large markets. I'm not going to talk about the medium ones because medium ones are actually smaller than you think. And we might not know where they are. Like, for example, a Grand Isle, Louisiana, which is in the Bayou, if anybody knows where any of that is. So we're going to compare large beach markets, and then you can filter by region or even state. So I'm just going to select the South. And if you already know what markets you want to look into, guess what? You can just type them in. And, like if I was interested in Gulf Shores and I want to compare it against a Destin or, a Panama City Beach or a Fort Walton Beach, all those, I can type them in individually. It's really up to you. And that's the great part about the tool. It has the flexibility for all different cities or markets across the US that you can compare. You don't have to put in destination type or a region. I'm going to pass on the budget for right now, just so we can just see what the top beach markets are in the South. So I'm going to hit search. And it loaded very quickly. And so it's telling me that if I look here, I can see the state, the city, the market size, the ROI. So the ROI, this is a gross ROI. Gross ROI is made up of the yearly average revenue of that market and the average valuation of that market as well. Something that people, how many people, so if you all have your little emoji icon or emoticons, raise your hand. I want you guys to raise your hand or hit the wave or whatever if you've all seen those lists that are like the top 20 markets, in the US, vacation rental markets in the US as of 2022. I see a couple. Okay, everybody sees it. Now, all right, if you can lower your hands and by just clicking the same button. Now raise your hands if you actually find those valuable. I see some clapping. Okay, see a couple of people. Some people are taking their hands down. So for me, they're garbage, and I don't mean that in any offense, but like the reason why is because of the value. So this number right here, the valuation. I'll give you an example. Gulf Shores, Alabama, great market. The average, I'll see this listed all the time. The median listing price of Gulf Shores, Alabama is $462,000 with the median revenue of, I think it's like $56,000. I can buy a 1-bedroom in Gulf Shores condo for $456, but I can't buy a house vacation rental in Gulf Shores for $456. That's not true. That's not an accurate number. It's definitely going to be higher than that. And in fact, if I just wanted to, pull it out here in STR Insights, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll go back and actually look at these. So the actual average is 929,000, which you go on Zillow and you look at the properties there, they're in the millions for a residential home, even a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. It's going to be around there. We can look at the prices when we go into the bedroom count in a second, but this is the true valuation. These are vacation rentals. Those lists are basing it on residential homes. So homes that you can't even rent out as vacation rentals. So this is a different approach. And this is a new strategy that we need to be focusing on, is looking at vacation rental prices instead of residential homes, because you can't rent out any old house anymore and put it on Airbnb and expect to get the high returns. You need to be smart about it. And like I always say, you need to change up your strategies. So, and we've already given one, which is doing the regulation. Now it's time to use technology. So let me go back. All right. So now in STR Insights, I'm comparing markets. It's going to give me a list of all the top beach markets in the South based on the criteria I just put in. So there's north. You have the opportunity, there's a map view, and you can click into it and you can see the properties and see how much revenue they made. And you can click into them as well in Airbnb and see, the listing and do all that fun stuff. Filter by, show me where the 90th percentile properties are, or even up to 95th percentile in the map view. But this is an important feature because, guys, when I go back to this list here, I don't know this market at all. I really don't know much about Virginia besides like Shenandoah, which is a great area. But this beach market, to me, it is quote unquote on the beach, but it's very city and it's not true beach. I mean, someone could argue with me and go back and forth, but for me personally, understanding my personal bias that I'm not comfortable with this market is acceptable and should be taken into account. So if you don't like that market, go on to the next one. Where's Freeport, Texas, which is near Surfside Beach in Texas. So Galveston is up here. Just in case anybody knows Galveston, which is also a great beach market. These are great markets. This whole little region here is an excellent market. But for those of you who've either invested in Texas compared to the Panhandle, what's the difference? The water
Texas.
is just, what's that?
The taxes suck too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like,
So,
there's just like, there's a big difference, and the water's brown and it's not as pretty.
yeah.
For an investment side, it's fine because I think you have, is it Dallas or Houston nearby? Dallas. I think it's Houston that's nearby, that's servicing this market. There's plenty of demand. It's a great market, great numbers, affordable pricing. But my personal preference of, I want to see that clear Emerald Sea. It's not going to be here in Texas. And so a lot of you might go, okay, I like Florida. Here's some Florida ones. Ormond Beach. Here, Kill Devil's Hill is in oh my gosh, the Outer Banks. But I know these things. I know where these markets are because I've done a lot of research. But for a lot of you who are seeing these new ones, what do? Where do you look? You need to do some more research. And this is where this new tool I'm going to show you that I've been using. It's free. You have to create an account, but it's free. It's called placer.io. So I'm going to look at Ormond Beach. So Ormond Beach is near Daytona. And a lot of you are probably going to be familiar with this area or know something about it. NASCAR or spring break or catchy key terms come up. But Ormond Beach, that's kind of weird. How many people actually go to Ormond Beach? So what you're going to do is you go to this site called placer.ai. You do have to create an account, but once you're in, you can just type in an address, or it's usually like of a restaurant or a store or like a city location. And so I like to just try to find like, I'll just type in the name of the area, if I can spell it right. Yeah. So there's Ormond Beach Town Center or Granda Plaza. I think it's going to choose, I can't remember which one's better, but so you click it and it tells you, okay, here's like two areas. It compares their traffic together. But based on, this is free, so I don't have a paid account here. Based on the data from June, 117,000 people went to Granada Plaza in Ormond Beach, Florida. 117,000 people. All right, it's Florida, it's near Daytona. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people, and that's kind of a no-brainer. But use this for markets that you're not familiar with. So what I mean by that is, let's go to an actual market that we might not be familiar with or be comfortable with looking into. So I'm not going to ask for a raise of hands or anybody to shout out, but Ocean Isle Beach. Most people don't know where this is. This is in obviously North Carolina, but where is it in North Carolina? Is it near the Outer Banks, or is it somewhere else? The answer is it's somewhere else. But if I didn't know that, I could look at a map, obviously, and see, but also I could see, well, that's kind of far away from Myrtle Beach because that's where it's at. It's about an hour away from Myrtle Beach, but I can type in Ocean Isle Beach in here. And I can pick a location or somewhere near. You can pick like almost any location. Unfortunately, the beaches usually don't have a physical address, so they can't track that. This site is using phone traffic. So they're using like, Android and iOS data of how many people and visitors are coming through and staying at this area for more than like a certain amount of time. And you can scroll down and see like the average time and so on. And that can be helpful. I know it's getting into the weeds, but per this, almost 90,000 people in the month of June went through this area in Ocean Isle Beach. And I can tell you that Ocean Isle Beach, looking at the map here, just in STR Insights, is I went too far out. I guess we can see that. So Myrtle Beach is right here, and Ocean Isle is like an hour north of Myrtle Beach. So you got North Myrtle Beach, I think Atlantic Beach is just south there, but Oak Island, Ocean Isle Beach. It's very family friendly, more quiet area, great area for investments as well. So learning that, using that tool placer.ai and coming back and understanding these markets is going to help get you get you more confidence to invest in these new and emerging markets that you're going to see in STR Insights. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about the two things I just talked about? Because those are pretty heavy topics.
It's funny when you bring up Gulf Shores, because someone listed it as like the top destination and all that, and I'm in Gulf Shores, and I'm like, I don't know, like the revenues have been pretty poor, at least this year, and the numbers that you showed on there, had I seen that before I bought, I'd be very hesitant, to buy there.
When did you buy?
I bought in November and December last year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the thing. When I this is cliche and I apologize to everyone, but when I got to say it, when people zig, I zag. I literally do not follow my mastermind. Like half of my mastermind is invested in Gulf Shores, and they keep investing there.
yeah.
And that's great for them. But like when I saw they were all like looking at properties and interested, I'm like, I don't want to compete with these people. They're at a different, like I obviously like can host on the same level, but they're, like that's competition, and that's fine. But I can see where this is going. They're out, the prices are just way too high compared to the revenue. And so anyway, yeah, so Placer looks, it is a great tool. It's helpful just to kind of get a feel, especially in new markets. I used it in use it on smaller markets. These are all big, and for the most part, we can see where they're at and understand. But the smaller or medium markets that, like a Grand Isle, Louisiana, like where is that? Why is that the #1 beach market in the South? In terms of like all market sizes. That's going to vary, and you can use Placer to kind of help explain that and understand what kind of traffic goes through there. I personally wouldn't invest there for personal reasons, but it might make sense to another investor. Cool. All right. Sweet. Let's go to the last point. So I'm just going to go back to the presentation and talk about this last one. Let's see if I have anything. Okay. So I did this joke in the Nashville conference, but bigger isn't always better, ladies. And here's the formula to prove it. So infinity bedrooms. So like if you bought a property that was like infinity size, doesn't mean you're going to get infinity revenue. Okay. So there's got to be some sort of like optimal efficiency per each market, meaning that based on the prices, current prices of real estate in that particular can, all the different bedrooms make, and it's going to vary. And so which one, what's the optimal bedroom count? So if we take, for example, if we look at, let's pick on a Gulf Shores, because we're talking about it.
Thanks.
Let me see if I can get it to refresh. I'm gonna have to start over. I have to start over. Oh, good. There it is. Okay, so we're looking at Gulf Shores, and we're looking at, so this is evaluation, but guys, we don't invest in averages. We invest in individual properties. So let's switch it over to find the optimal bedroom count. So I've got bedroom counts 1 through a lot. I can't even see down here. Sorry, I gotta move some stuff. Okay, that's 2. All right, I even have up to 16. Interesting. Okay, so it's obvious that in beach markets, the bigger the property, the more revenue potential it has. Now, I don't know if you can find a 12 bedroom. You probably can, and we don't have a lot of data on it. And there's not a lot of active listings for this particular 12 bedroom. But looking at the 10 and 11, those are pretty close to what I've seen on the market in terms of prices. And here's their revenue. What's interesting, and this is giving you some clarity into this market, looks like the 10 bedrooms are on average doing better than the 11 bedrooms. So you can see, like, if you were, okay, I have, $2.8 million to spend. Should I spend it on, a 10 bedroom or 11 bedroom. This is telling you maybe you should check out the 10 bedrooms and see how they're doing. Also, another comforting statistic is this is how many 10 bedrooms there currently are versus 11 bedrooms. And this is also giving you an insight into the type of demand, the group sizes that are traveling to this market. It's not telling you specifically, but it's telling you that 10 bedrooms are typically more in higher demand based on just more revenue. And then they're priced lower based on that revenue than the 11 bedrooms are. Now, if you change the revenue percentiles, that can change. Let's see, did it change? It did. Wow. So there's some like 11 bedrooms that are they're probably like some unique boutique hotels and Gulf Shores or something that are doing really, really well. But if we go back to the standard or the average or whatever, I usually look at 75th percentile. This is a good, strong understanding of what this market is doing. I think this is very helpful in terms of the numbers here. I also look at the 7 and the 8 bedroom. This is interesting. I mean, they're pretty priced very similarly. And but the revenue numbers, there's definitely a difference there. And so, you might consider targeting the 8 over the 7. And this is just some insights into helping you get that edge, even if you're looking in popular markets like, say, Gulf Shores. Now, these returns aren't terrible, 13, 15, all the way up to, that's probably not right. And we just don't have a lot of data on that one. But, these are very good returns. These might be out of our price points as well. So it really depends. But going back to the very beginning, beware of the barrier of entry and the amenities needed. I'm assuming a lot of these properties have pools, heated pools now too. That's a new thing in this area. And the way to tell that is click into the map view and then go into the actual properties. Let's let it load. And you can click in and see their actual links. We could say, okay, show me the, we're looking at the, say 7 and 8 bedrooms. We can go in here and click and see, these particular properties and how they're performing based on their percentiles or whatever, and see what type of amenities they have. So these are the 50th revenue percentile properties. We can move it up and down and change it based on the, what we're trying to target. So, okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm a little bit thirsty. Are there any questions about the tool? Because I'm going to take it back to the this presentation.
That's pretty cool too. I mean, you can say, because people could say, hey, Gulf Shores is an awful market, but if you look at the data even more, well, it is a bad market, but if you get like this 11 bedroom, the data is showing that you'll have a really good return on that. So
yeah. So it's not that the markets, like for example, like the Smokies or even Blue Ridge. Let's go back to picking on Blue Ridge. It's not Blue Ridge is a bad market. It's just you have to change your strategy of investing in there. You can't just buy any vacation rental and a cabin in the woods there and expect it to be good. It has to have some sort of view or be on the water and stand out. And if you do that, you'll do well. The numbers back that, and it is a good investment, but you have to know that, and you have to do the research and look at the data. And so this is what STR Insights is trying to do, is like paint the picture for you, but you still have to connect the dots and really learn and study the markets. So what I recommend doing, anyone who wants to use STR Insights, is one issue that a lot of folks have is that this data, not the bedroom counts, but going back to, if I go back to the average, this data there, we have every single market. This is a lot of data to look through and to digest. So pick out 4 to 5 markets and then stick to them and study the crap out of those markets. Call realtors, look at the regulations, like figure out what the sweet spots are. You'll find opportunity, but that's what you have to do now, not last year when you could just buy anything in any market and it would do well. Times have changed. You got to adjust. So,
hey, Kenny, related to that, someone asked, what is the source of your data?
Yeah, so I guess there's 2 kind of sources going on. So we have like our revenue data is from Airbnb and Vrbo. Our valuation data is we pull actual vacation rental addresses off Airbnb and Vrbo, and we turn those into, we give them to a third-party vendor like House Canary or Adam, and we get actual valuations of what the value of those vacation rentals are, if that makes sense. So, we take, I don't know what, Alex, what did you buy last year in November, December in Gulf Shores?
Kind of embarrassed, but I bought a
No, like, what's the property size?
I bought a 4-bedroom.
4-bedroom. Okay, not to be embarrassed about that. So you bought a 4-bedroom. So we go in and we take Alex's 4-bedroom, his listing, and we figure out the address of his property, and we get the data from a vendor and of that value of that property as of this month. And then we update the numbers monthly. So that's how we're valuing the properties and where that valuation number comes from. We're thinking about changing the word to like appraise, but it's not quite an appraisal. It's more of a true just value of what vacation rentals are. But that's a great question. Is this only STR data? Is there data for MTR, midterm rentals? Not yet. So, and we're just STR focused. So, yep. All right. Cool. Okay, let me move along here. So skip all this stuff because we just showed that in the tool. All right, last thing, and this is really cool and super helpful. And you don't have to do this just in STR Insights. You can do this in other data tools as well. But I call it finding sweet spots. You have to do this. Just because you know a market is a good market to invest in doesn't mean anywhere you buy. I've said this already, but doesn't mean anywhere you buy it is going to be a good investment. You need to find sweet spots in the market. So what does that mean? So this is in STR Insights. This is Front Royal, Virginia. It's up near in the Shenandoah area. So Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are like an hour and a half to 2 hours away. And Shenandoah has like, I think 2 million visitors each year, but this is like one of the entrances of the park. So what do we notice about this particular map? And this is the top properties. This isn't like the 50th percentile or the average or anything. This is the 90th percentile of performing properties in this market. Where are those properties located? There. So the majority are located here. And the reason why is because there's actually some strict regulations in Front Royal, and these are the only neighborhoods that will allow STRs. But if you didn't study the map or call, to get that information, you're like, and you find a property over here, you're wasting your time. So this information and understanding that the top performers are here and here are a good idea of where you should be looking if you're interested in investing in this market. So let's look at another one. So this one is, this is Ellijay. This is south of Blue Ridge, just south of Blue Ridge, about 15 minutes. What do we notice about the top performing properties in Ellijay? If we look at the map here, they appear to be the majority of them on water. This is unusual for a mountain market because mountain markets, you want views. However, the majority of the top performing properties in Ellijay and Blue Ridge are actually on the water. And the reason why is there's like amazing fishing and the water is really pretty here and just so on and so forth. But that's just what the demand is for this area. And on top of that, if you look at real estate prices, properties on water are cheaper than properties with views. So the pricing is backwards. So right there is an opportunity to take advantage of a market that hasn't priced in properly properties on water. So that's something really interesting, just doing high level, zoomed out, finding sweet spots in the market of just understanding a market. Let's take a look at California. Let's go out west because I've just been focusing on the Southeast the whole time. So this is Oakhurst. So what do we know? Oakhurst is near Yosemite National Park, Bass Lake, beautiful area. Not a big market, it's a medium market, but there are a lot of vacation rentals here. And what do we notice about the market? Well, they're kind of along the highway, but they're all over the place. And when you dive in deeper and you actually click into these properties, they're all like multi-million-dollar homes. They're really, really nice and like refurbished and all this stuff, brand new, modern look, and they have views and things. But if you don't do that research, if you don't look at these properties and you just blindly go in here and say, oh, Oakhurst is great numbers, you're going to find a property and you're not going to get the returns you were expecting. You've got to do that research. You've got to find those sweet spots, those like niches and the riches kind of thing. And this is how you can do it. Let's take Victor, Idaho. This is one of my proximity ones. So near Victor, Idaho, for those of you who don't know, it's Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole is a tier 1 market, beautiful. The $20 million homes here. Like the Tetons, Teton Village skiing, rafting, all kind of, it's amazing area, but it's very overpriced, very strict on short-term rental regulations. So where does everybody stay? If they can't stay in Jackson, they go stay in Victor or Driggs. There's also a ski resort over here. But guess what? The majority, and it's kind of hard to tell because they're all bunched together, but Victor is pro short-term rental. So there's not a lot of regulations there. You have to get a permit, but the majority of the top properties are as you go further south, closer to Jackson, because the closer people want to be near Jackson Hole. And so that means if I buy a 4-bedroom in North Victor, the same 4-bedroom in South Victor is going to perform better than the 4-bedroom in North Victor, just based on this data here, looking at the data and understanding it. And guys, the prices are the same. When you look at the real estate prices, 4 bedrooms up here cost the same as 4 bedrooms down here, vacation rentals. However, they're going to do more here. And if you don't do that research and you buy a place up here just because you looked at averages of a market, you're going to miss out on that opportunity in that way to get those cash on cash returns. So, all right. I think I've talked way too long and I apologize, but that's the gist of it. So I guess I'll turn it over for questions or any comments. Yes, somebody said valuation equals estimated market value. That is correct. That's probably a more accurate way of saying it, or describing it. And we've just shortened it to valuation. I really like that.
Alex, any questions on Facebook?
No, they're just saying great job. A lot of
thank you guys.
information. I put a link to placer.ai on there also in the chat, so that way if people want to play with that tool, they could look at that.
Okay guys, if you're interested, I'll just put the plug in. If you want to buy into STR Insights, we've got a monthly, a quarterly, a yearly plan. You get a discount, a promo specifically for you guys. So just to thank you for letting me be on here, and you guys can take advantage of that. There's no time limit on it. So I know some of you guys aren't looking now, you're waiting. So just, whenever you do want to subscribe to STR Insights, I would definitely, use the promo code to save money. So, yeah.
You have anyone writing blogs on there about different markets or like maybe regulations or why people would
so
things?
That's a great question. So the blogs are actually going to be coming up. Our landing page, our homepage is going to drastically change. We literally just got the tool out because people wanted access to the data. So now that everyone's kind of subscribed who really wanted to subscribe, we are re-gearing it and kind of getting ready to like get the sales page, the marketing up and going and get that really going for folks. So yeah, we will have blogs. We're putting up like 3 or 4 articles this coming week. It'll be on the landing page. Regulation, that's going to be interesting. So guys, I'm not broadcasting this yet because it's a work in progress, but we have found a way to get regulation for the majority of vacation rental markets across the United States. Now, that's a loaded sentence there, in a sense that every market's different. It varies per neighborhood or city or county or whatever. So we're going to have categories of, there'll be definitions, but you'll know, and you can sort by regulation and filter by regulation. So that will be coming out in a couple of weeks. So buckle up.
That's a ton of information right there. I watched your presentation before and they're like, oh, that's impossible to even do.
Yeah. Well, that's so like I like when somebody says that's impossible or like you can't do that, I'm like, I can do that, I'll figure it out. And I found a way to do it. It's in the coming months it'll just get better and better as we go, but as we include more of the smaller markets with it. But we've got the majority of the big large markets and the medium markets, and so in a couple weeks it's going to come out, and then eventually I think we're just going to give the regulation information for free. So part of the tool kind of thing, like a free trial, you get to see every market's regulation.
Ryan's got a question up there. Ryan, what's up, man?
Yeah, hey guys. Somebody wants to know, Kenny, where can they find you and Bill's hot picks?
So you can go to bkhotpicks.com. That's our site. So
I feel like I'm the chat moderator.
chat moderator. Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome presentation. I definitely picked up some insights. No pun intended, but I got some insights from your
There you go.
presentation. So
Yeah, I hope it's all. So guys, I haven't talked to anybody about this Placer.ai thing. I was just doing my own research the last couple weeks to because I'm looking at these new markets. I'm like, who the heck would go in Michigan, invest in Boyne Falls, which is a ski resort there. It's one of the top ski resorts in returns in the country. Like how many people actually go there? And I found this tool and I'm like, holy cow, this is really useful and helpful. And kind of paints a picture around some of these markets in terms of how many people are going there and what's the traffic like. So anyway, so if you guys liked it, then just, let me know, because I just thought I'd share it. Anyway.
All right, we're up on the hour here. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Kenny, how can anyone else get a hold of you? Social media, or are they just going on strinsights.com?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to reach out to me on social media, we have a page, STR Insights, or I think our handle is at Short-Term Rental Insights. You can also email me at support@strinsights.com. I answer all the emails. So, but I'm always the one that's interacting with folks. So yeah, just reach out to the site or on social media. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I think if anyone moving forward is going to purchase a short-term rental, I don't think you can move forward without STR Insights. It's just you're going to make a big mistake, right? Especially nowadays with rising interest rates, you need that margin to get the biggest bang for your buck. So sign up.
Yeah, especially with what we're going to be putting out in the next couple of weeks with the regulation and the realtor information. It's going to be we're trying to create a platform that you have to go through and to get information about, all the information you need to know about a market is going to be right there at your fingertips. That's the point of it.
On one website, right? On one.
Yeah, one website. And we're vetting people. We're having exclusive realtors,
Right.
but these are people who own STRs, not just oh, I'm selling them, but these are people who have experience and we've vetted. So that's going to be on there too. And yeah, we're just really excited about all that. And it's just going to keep building in the next couple of months to where we've got this huge platform of cleaners and maintenance and property managers and everybody in one. So when you go to a market, it's got it all laid out for you. You just have to pick up the phone and make some calls.
That sounds amazing. Any final words, Savannah?
No, so good. I love, and I'm seeing a trend in our meetings too, and just kind of what's happening in the industry is leveraging technology to do a lot of the work for us. And I think the people that are catching on to that and doing it quicker are going to be finding the better deals because they're out there scrubbing the data and the research. And so it mitigates a lot of risk that way. And it's a super cool trend to watch. It's super cool to watch people like you build these products for people and add features and make evolutions with it. So super cool. I would highly recommend anyone here to sign up for it. Like Alex said, purchasing a short-term rental with this, it will probably be necessary in the near future. So super cool to meet you, Kenny. Thanks for coming on here and sharing, and really cool to see you at the beginning of this, that you just launched July 8th. So I can only imagine 5 years from now, we're all going to be oh, I remember Kenny when he came on and showed us just when they started. Your product's going to be so different from now, but super cool to meet you, and thank you for coming on and sharing.
Thanks, Savannah. I appreciate that.
Hey, so next week, right, we have network night.
Yes.
Yeah, network night. No real topic. It's just us talking to each other.
Yeah, those are always great. Love getting to know people who are regulars on these calls, people that are doing things. We talk through different pain points that we're having and different markets that we're investing with. We talk about all sorts of stuff. So if you haven't been to one of our networking nights, come and hang out with us. They're a lot of fun.
And then Savannah will post a replay in a little bit. And then not only that, it's up on the Healthcare Professionals Investing in Real Estate Facebook page. Also on my Facebook page, you can see the live video and then scroll back and watch it that way too.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Take care. See you next week.
A really good meetup. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kenny.